5 News This Morning starts now.
A local professor accused of possessing child sexual abuse materials will have the latest on the investigation.
And as we go throughout the day today, another hot one, upper 80s and low 90s in northwest Arkansas, mid 90s in the River Valley with a heat advisory in effect and maybe a slight storm chance. We'll talk about the latest coming up.
Plus, a new court ruling allows Arkansas to enforce a ban on the teaching of critical race theory in public schools. But first, let's take a live look outside, this time over Springdale. Good morning to you there. Traffic moving smoothly. It is 6:30. Thank you for joining us here this morning on 5 News This Morning. I'm Emily Moss, Jacob Luthi. Of course, we're in for Joe and Tiffany on a much-needed break and vacation. They've certainly earned it, and I hope they're somewhere near water or air conditioning because they need it.
I would say that's probably advice for everybody, right? Be near water, be near the AC because, yeah, it's just going to be hot and humid, and that trend is going to continue really for the rest of this week and probably the rest of summer. But here's what we got going on right now. Heat advisory in effect for the entire River Valley through this afternoon and evening. Heat advisory could contain, or I should say the peak heat indices with this heat advisory could be as high as 105, maybe as high as 109 in some areas, very isolated on the eastern half of the River Valley here, including Franklin, Logan, and Johnson County. So this feels like for northwest Arkansas, not going to be as hot, a little bit more cloud cover with an isolated rain chance, but still could be pretty hot nonetheless, low to mid 90s there into portions of northwest Arkansas, maybe approaching the upper 90s into portions a little bit farther south, especially in Washington County. For the River Valley, many areas hitting triple digits as early as possibly 11 a.m., maybe getting as high as, again, as 108, 109. Not out of the question. And we are watching a line of showers and storms just off to our northwest. You see it is kind of slowing down a little bit and parking itself and making a more easterly turn. We'll have to see how much farther this does get southeast. I do think for the most part it'll lighten up, but we have a chance for later today, especially during the afternoon and evening, maybe a strong storm or two. Nothing severe expected, but we'll go more of that chance about the timing and the totals coming up in just a little bit. For now, we'll take a look at traffic. We'll go along I-49 at Puffy Creek with that sunrise coming up on this Thursday morning. Good morning to you folks there, and good morning all across the 5 News coverage area. Again, just be safe out there in the heat because this is the start of the hottest stretch of the year. So we'll talk more about the heat and maybe that storm chance coming up in just a little bit. Jacob and Emily.
Thanks, Danny. New overnight this morning, the Senate has passed a $9 billion spending cuts package in a 51-48 vote. Lawmakers passed the package in the 12th hour of the votorama, with 2 Republican senators voting against it. The package, requested by President Trump, includes spending cuts to public broadcasting and foreign aid. The legislation will now head back to the House. And this morning, a growing chorus of Republicans are criticizing President Trump's administration.
Yeah, the controversy centers around the handling of documents related to convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. New overnight, 3 sources tell CBS News the Justice Department fired federal prosecutor Maureen Comey. She's the daughter of ex-FBI Director James Comey, and she helped in cases against Epstein, his accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, and Sean Diddy Combs. Before the election, Trump suggested he would consider releasing the Epstein files and a rumored client list, which last week the DOJ said doesn't exist. The president is calling the controversy over the Epstein files a hoax.
Perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
Meanwhile, President Trump is confirming he asked GOP lawmakers if he should fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. The president has criticized Powell for months over the Fed's refusal to cut interest rates, but some Republicans say firing the Fed chair could tank the stock market. And 2 women are behind bars after an alleged child abduction in Benton County. Alize Carter was on a supervised visit with her son when she returned without him. The child was later found in a motel room with Summer Barrett, who investigators say was intoxicated. Both women face charges of endangering the welfare of a minor and are due in court next month. We have a full report on the case on our website at 5newsonline.com. And we're learning more about a professor at the University of Arkansas who reportedly confessed to downloading and viewing child sexual abuse material.
The prosecuting attorney for the 4th Judicial District says the professor made statements confessing that he had the materials. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis has more.
On July 11th, around 7:30 a.m., investigators searched 34-year-old Joshua Eric McGee's home on North Betty Jo Drive in Fayetteville. They say they found a thumb drive containing multiple folders of child sexual abuse material. The search came after the Internet Crimes Against Children alerted Fayetteville PD that content was being downloaded to McGee's address.
He was arrested on July 11th The court set a bond for him, which he posted the next day on July 12th.
That bond was set at $5,000, and now he awaits an upcoming court date next month, just over a week before the first day of class begins at the University of Arkansas.
The thing that's unusual about Mr. McGee, obviously, is his place of employment at the University of Arkansas, and that's what seems to make him stand out.
We reached out to the University of Arkansas for an interview. They gave 5 News a statement saying, quote, Joshua McGee, a teaching assistant professor in exercise science, has been placed on administrative leave. Carter says child predators remain an ongoing problem and believes the state must continue to make this issue a top priority.
This office in the state takes such a strong stance on CSAM cases is because the children depicted in CSAM images are just as much of a victim as somebody who has been actively offended on. In fact, people in those images were actively offended on. That's why the image exists. The difference is that every time that image is distributed, that child is re-victimized again.
McGee is scheduled to show up in court on August 8th, where he will receive formal charges. Investigators will spend the next several days and weeks going through McGee's devices to determine if more charges should be filed.
And a federal appeals court has ruled Arkansas can enforce its ban on the teaching of critical race theory in public schools. A lawsuit challenging a section of the Arkansas Learns Act claimed it violated the First Amendment free speech clause based on the ban of indoctrinating students. In Wednesday's ruling, the court said the plaintiffs failed to show a likelihood of success in the case, ruling that the free speech clause does not require the government to promote messages it disagrees with. The lawsuit returns to the district court in Little Rock for further proceedings.
Well, happening today, the city of Bentonville will host a public meeting to reveal the first draft of a new zoning code. We're taking a live look outside over Bentonville right now. Good morning to you. The new code is part of the Plan Bentonville process and is designed to guide the city's growth. A few key updates in the draft include improved traffic connectivity and more housing options. City staff and project team members will be at the public library in the Walmart room to answer questions and gather input. The event will last from 5:30 to 7:30 this evening. This morning, the death toll in the Texas flood stands at over 130 people. Wednesday, searchers looking for the dozens still missing got a break from the weather. One pastor at Kerrville Church of Christ has been holding vigils with youth and making trips to children's camps to help clean up. He says he's spoken to groups who have been out every day searching.
They've seen some horrible things, but they've also heard the stories about saving some families and some children and some adults and rescuing. So those have been good things.
Dozens of first responders and military veterans with Sheepdog Impact Assistance are on the ground in Texas, helping with recovery efforts. Sheepdog shared these photos right here on your screen on its Facebook page. The group left Rogers on Sunday and have been in Kerrville and Liberty Hill since. So far, they've cleared debris left by more than 300 trees. As recovery efforts continue, disaster response leaders say the best way to help is through financial donations, especially for families without flood insurance.
There's plenty of people that have a need here. And so certainly share the stories, any amount counts that you can help out with, because I mean, these communities have been pretty devastated. Some of these people's everything has been washed away.
They're also trying to collect as many personal belongings as possible to return to their owners. Among the items found have been a family heirloom Bible and an antique stained glass front door from one of the homes. And as the floodwaters rose, Texans answered with courage. You can watch Hearts and Heroes flooding in the Texas Hill Country and help those still in need. Stream for free starting tomorrow on 5 News Plus.
New this morning, a new look at the suspect arrested in a home invasion and double homicide out of Los Angeles. Police are working to figure out what connection, if any, there was between an American Idol executive, her husband, and a 22-year-old who lived near the scene. LAPD released new images of Raymond Bodarian. You can see there the man suspected of killing Robin Kay and Thomas DeLuca after breaking into their home last week. Police have blurred the suspect's face in the photos. The couple was found Monday afternoon, but police say the Thursday before, officers responded to a neighbor's call about a man jumping the couple's fence. Authorities believe the couple were already dead when they arrived for that call. Detectives say officers couldn't get on the property because of a wall of metal spikes, and there were no signs of distress or a break-in.
Absent that, Unless there's objective evidence of a crime having been committed, we would not make entry into that property.
Police say when they arrived for a welfare check on Monday, a neighbor let them pass the wall. Surveillance video shows someone the week before entering through an unlocked door. Badarian is set to appear in court later today.